Hello everyone, Chrisa is here, founder and teacher of Bautanz, Constructing Dance. Welcome to another Tango Movement Lab. So today we will be working on mistakes. So I've been really trying to figure out how we can possibly take this concept of mistakes that you'll find different blog posts on Bautanz.com. They can be clues, they can be opportunities, and sometimes, and that's what we're going to be working on, they can be the door to working on things that do not serve you, because potentially, not always, but potentially, that's how you came to a mistake. And mistakes, they create patterns potentially of activity or patterns of reaction or patterns of movement, which is what we are mostly interested in this particular case. So we're going to look at finding moments, and I'm going to use only a few of them as examples because I cannot possibly know what exactly is challenging you, but hopefully maybe I'll try to touch on the basic ones, and hopefully some of these will resonate with you and be like, oh yeah, I have a problem with that, I have an issue with that I need to work on. But even if I don't touch on the element that you're struggling with, hopefully will give you a tool or a pathway on how you can actually work through the issue. And if that doesn't work, you can always reach out to me. I love hearing your stories, questions, thoughts, light bulb moments at chrisa.assis@bautanz.com. So with no further ado, I think let's start with a dance. I know sometimes we have people who do not dance tango or they're very fresh in the tango world. I'm going to put on a song. If you don't like it, choose whichever, mute me and choose whichever song you like and move to it. It doesn't have to be tango. This is the introductory dance where we set up, we change our mindset from what we were doing before to what we're going to be doing now. So it doesn't have to be tango. It has to be something that will get you moving, essentially. Okay, so let's let me adjust you guys first so you can actually see me. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to put this on. All right, let's hit pause. Pause. Okay. So, okay, let's start. I think with one that we all struggle with, and I'm trying to hit the universal ones. The location of the torso. So, postural elements, and I will try to connect it with what we have been working on. We were working on in the previous online practice, which was regarding space. So I'll try to make those connections so you can always refer to our previous practices. So let's start with the thorax. And I'm going to stand. So usually what is it that the cues that we get are they can be either or main cues. I know different people teach differently, but let's get the two common ones. The two common ones is either this, so pressing the chest forward, let's say, or the actual cue is lift your chest, pull your shoulder blades together, squeeze your shoulder blades together. That's usually how the cue goes, right? So it reaches to this point, and I want you to try this with me, and check to see. Let's not put the concept of mistake on this. Let's check to see if this posture, pushing the chest forward and squeezing the shoulder blades together, if it is serving you, if it is allowing you to be in the place where you want to be. So hold this for a second, and I'm going to stop talking and simply breathe. Don't do anything else. And gently now let it go. And this might be an assumption, but for me, and that's another little caveat that I have here, never copy the teacher. The teacher has a different body than you. You listen to the cue and you try to bring it to your body. So for me, that cue, let me just make adjustments here to look a little bit more proper. There we go. For me, this cue of bring the chest up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, restricts my breathing. So my breathing is very shallow. When I release the shoulder blades, and this is going to be our first exercise, and I'll stop speaking in a moment, and I want you to try it with me. Your breathing is more fulsome, is more full. So let's go back to that. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, bring the chest forward and up. And just do a couple of breaths. And now release. Sorry, apologies. Just see someone. Okay. And now release this position and breathe. So a couple of things to notice, and this is the exercise that we're going to do. In the initial moments after you release this position, you'll notice that your breathing might still be shallow, as if you were still here. It takes a little bit of time for our our body and our decision to be in sync. So it's at this point where you need to say, you know what, we've let go of the shoulder blades. You can move. And now when you start to move, you'll notice that we have this movement. I'm exaggerating so you can see it in the video. The lift and drop. You also have an action of forward and back. So up, then down, forward and back of the thorax. And you'll also, if you place your hands on your rib cage and only breathe, you also have this opening and closing. So let's see which is the best option. I'm gonna stay this way. Maybe there we go. And I want you to place your hands on each side of your rib cage where it feels comfortable, and gently pressing, not very with intensity. And we're just gonna breathe. Let's take 5 breaths at your own pace. And release. And now take your one hand, and place it right at your chest. And again, we're going to do 5 breaths. Okay. And last one, and if you're breathing faster than me, you do more breaths, right? Or if you're breathing slower still, that's fine. Then you place one hand on your on the top of your chest, right under the clavicle. This is the bones that come this way. There we go. And one hand at your diaphragm, so right where your ribs meet. There we go. And you just hold these points. And let's take a moment to notice that as we're standing here, just taking the hands off and breathing at your own pace, like before, you'll notice that once you've put your two hands on your body, this is becoming more clear what is exactly going on. And you'll notice that this portion affects the rest. So when we were in this holding position, then everything realigned, like my knees, my hips, because things are connected. When we started releasing this position and this hold, and we started exploring the movements required for our breathing to happen, then the rest of the body adjusted for these movements to be accommodated. So I'm going to put this song on in just a bit. I'll put a song on. I want you to keep it simple. So walking, maybe some rebounds. Rebounds actually do help bring this wave in. And I really want you to focus on the movement of the thorax. And you can use your hands too. Our hands are great guides. And track what is happening. So even if you are, let's say, pivoting, track what is happening here. And when you notice that you're holding in a position that is not serving you, pause, take a moment. Maybe you can use one of these three variations: hand on the chest, chest and diaphragm, or holding on each side of the rib cage. Take a couple of breaths, allow your body to adjust, and then you can start again. Okay, let's put the song on. I think we need something that will give us a little bit more time. Okay. Let's go with this. It's actually called movement. Haha.
I still watch you when you're grooving, as if through water from the bottom of a pool. You're moving without moving, and when you move, I move. You are called emotion. There all of you a verb in perfect view, like Jonah on the ocean. When you move, I move. When you move, I'll put to mind of all that I wanna be. When you move, I could never define all that you are to me. So move me, baby, shake like the bird willow tree. You do it naturally. Move me, baby. You are the right of movement. It's reasoning made lucid and cool. I know it's no improvement. When you move, I move. You less balloon and leaping, or fed a staring sequence. Honey, you're atlas and it's sleeping. And when you move, I move. When you move, I can recall something that's gone from me. When you move, honey, I'm putting on something so flawed and free. So move me, baby, shake like the bird willow tree. You do it naturally. Move me, baby. So move me, baby, like it's nothing left to prove, but nothing to lose.
pause. Not bad. Okay, so one thing to note, this position, this, is not inherently bad. Oh, so we're not going to say, oh, you never do this. But this is at the end of the range, when, especially when you add the shoulder blades and you squeeze. And if you hold, the issue is with holding. Because if you hold, your breathing is restricted, which clearly is not a good idea. But also, other elements are held in place. So this movement would look very different if I allow for the thorax to move. So what we're doing here is picking up on a thing that is not serving us and looking at how we can find different options through movement. So that's a tool. That's the idea. I think it's a good exploration. So hopefully you can use it in other struggles in your dance. Now, exactly the opposite. So there is another cue that people hear in tango: closing the rib cage. Closing. So let's try this together. Use your hands and literally do this. So you'll see that it engages your core more, and it creates a more, what comes in as create a straight line between your shoulders and your hips. And this is looked at as a better position because the curve of your lumbar is this part, is more in its average point in space, so it's not exaggerated, and there is some flexion in the hips. So sometimes this comes in order to achieve the rest. So still out of breath, let's do it together. Close your rib cage and notice what happens. Again, your breathing is very shallow. If we let go, you're like, okay, I can fully breathe again. Now, of course, this with practice, you're probably not going to notice. So let's use our hands. We're just going to do 3 breaths this time because I want to connect it to what happens to the rest of the body with this. So use your hands, this exercise first. We need to be able to move our ribs in order to breathe fully. Now, place a hand on your chest. Keep breathing. And add the hand on your diaphragm. Now, the other thing is we have not multiple fascial lines, but there is the deep front fascial line that goes from our feet, and it goes all between our toes, and it comes all the way up. All the fascial lines run through the whole body. We have cross fascial lines that cross. Fascia goes through our and covers our organs. It goes through our muscles. So it is everywhere. It connects everything. So with this, but also with this, you are training your fascia in a specific position. Whereas fascia has elasticity, that's the quality of the fascia, it has elasticity and bounce. When you do either this or this, you're holding you're taking the fascia and placing it in, putting it in place and holding it. Whereas fascia has this, it's almost like a more fluid, elastic, thick elastic band, sort of. Let's come up with some visual. So closing. What else happens? It pulls the whole front body downward, closes in through your front. So yes, you might feel that you are more supported around the core, but that also restricts you from being bounceful and being able to react in place. So if we were to place our chest in this position, hold it, this is what your rebound would look like. Because the core is not just the front, the core is like a band all around your body. So everything is held together. And it feels like your legs are just carrying a statue over them. Right? So when you place your body in position, then everything works fine. But if something out of the ordinary happens, you're not in a position to react instantly. So one great example is if you place your body in this way and someone throws a ball at you, would you be able to react and catch the ball? No. You would have to leave this position in order to reach out and catch the ball or step away. Okay? So, exaggerated example outside of the tango world. So, I want you to, for this one, place your hands one on the top of the chest and one at the diaphragm. And give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. And I'm going to be turning so you can see me in all different directions. This wiggle will go down into your legs and your hips. Be gentle because it might make you a little bit nauseous. So be very gentle. Okay. And then using your hands, that's another fun way to do this. Using your hands, lift and drop the chest. If you leave your mouth open, and if you're not speaking like I'm doing, you'll notice that you're breathing. Air is coming in and out. As you're doing this, notice that other things are falling in place. You don't need to hold them. Your hips know where to go, sort of. They're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go here. You don't need to place your hips here. They're going to go. And now I want you to hold the side of your rib cage. And again, using your hands. So before we were tracing and we're breathing. Now we are actually holding our rib cage and moving it. And close. To the extent that is comfortable for you. Don't push yourself too much. and do one last one, holding with your thumbs under your armpits, or under on your armpits, and do the same thing here, opening, so pressing with your thumbs back and down, and then coming forward and in. Almost like giving yourself a massage. And notice again that things are going to start to wiggle under you. We'll let that happen. Good. And release. And just take 5 breaths at your own pace, wherever you are standing. And there must still be adjustments that are necessary. You let them happen. Okay. So before I put the next song on and we dance, what was this? This is, like we said before, when we make a mistake, or we make a choice that we afterwards realize that it's not serving us. The issue is that choice creates habits and creates a specific body body attitude. Body position. There we go. That's the right word. Body position. So in order to, we might not have access to change the body position. So you realize what the issue is. You realize that this is not, something is wrong. Something is not in the right place. You're missing something. But you do not know how to change it. So you're at a loss. You're like, I feel that this is not helping me, but I don't know how to change it. So, or someone has told me how to change it, but I cannot do it. So let's take an example. I fully understand what Chrisa is saying, but I cannot do it on my body. So taking things, moving things in the direction that you want to go can be a way to do it. So one strategy we tried, the first exercise, is tracing. This is for when you've got a glimpse of what you want to do. You're like, yeah, that's it. That's the movement I want to achieve. But it's still not imprinted. You're still missing the map. So hands can actually help put the puzzle together. So that's the first strategy. You place a hand and you trace. You don't do anything. You don't push things in a specific direction. You just hold and pay attention. Capture feedback. Capture what's going on. Okay? So that's one strategy. The other strategy is if you understand what needs to happen, and you understand the words, but your body cannot do it. So your thorax cannot move in this way. So then what you can do is strategy number 2. You grab hold of the thorax or the body part in question, and you move it in the direction that you want it to go. And then after a few repetitions, you don't want to create too much frustration. You let it go and you move around. Try to give your body a little bit of time to absorb it. So it takes a few repetitions and it takes time, but these are 2 strategies that you can use to help you. So let's go. Let's do another one, another song. So we were working on undoing this. So I want you now to bring in as many rebounds as you can. Bounce And if you're used to doing rebounds like this, try to see, can I have more elasticity here? Can I make it more about the whole body and not just the legs? Okay, so put as many rebounds as you can, and this is where we're going. You can start playing with pivots. Maybe it's a pivot here, maybe it's on 2 feet, right? But if you're doing your pivots like this, I want you to try to see, how can I make this more whole body than just my hips rotating. Yep, let's go. If you can, the bounciness is first. We're gonna look at the ochos right after the song. What was this?
Follow down to the hollow sound.
All right. So let's look at pivots. I was going to say ochos, but let's start with pivots because this bounciness is actually very important for rotation. Small story. So I over rotated. That was my last week's hurrah moment. So I over rotated my spine, and not only that, I was not in a position, in an appropriate position in order to do that. And that over rotation came in with, along with shear force, which resulted in one of my vertebrae being pushed over to the left and the two below it being rotated. So, not good news, essentially. But rotation and shear force are the two most dangerous things you can do in our spine. We don't have that much ability for, like if we look at the whole spine, we don't have that much ability for rotation to begin with. So we have to be very careful where we're looking to integrate rotation. That's one thing. And the second thing is to know the boundaries. Like you need to know your range. You should not overdo it. It can actually cause serious problems. And maybe I've said this before, but now I'm actually speaking from experience. Don't overestimate your flexibility. I'm the first person who actually did that, speaking to you, but it can actually give you serious problems. So it's not a joke. So let's look at the pivots in this way, and that's why like it is very important to be able to do these movements, right? So front and back, up and down, and open and close. It's very important. In order to be able to breathe properly and to be able to move properly. So I'm going to start us from 2 feet, actually. And I want you to go on your metatarsals. So you would be able to do this. Just like leisurely swinging your heels one side and the other. You can hold on to something if you feel that you need to. And if you're wearing shoes, you can get rid of them. That's fine. So I want you to notice that there is, when you find your base, meaning where your feet need to be, so they shouldn't be too far, because then this is more demanding, and they shouldn't be too close, because again, this is too demanding. But you find a base that you're comfortable with, and you can easily do this. It shouldn't take too much effort. So you notice that there is this sweet spot of I can get here and bounce back, bounce back, bounce back, bounce back. If I go beyond this, I can go, but there's no more bounce. So I actually need to unscrew. And you can see that the movement has completely changed now because it's hold, release, hold, release, hold, release, hold, release. Compared to before, and what I'm asking you to do, bounce, 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 bounce. Yeah? Okay. So we're at this bounce. And maybe your bounce is looking different than my bounce. Because we have different bodies. But the idea is that you don't go to the end of your range. You stay a little bit back. So you can bounce back. So if you imagine like the end of your range like 2 walls, you go bounce, 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 bounce. You don't go to the wall, to the wall, to the wall. Yeah? You bounce off it. Let's go. Enough with the animation. Here we go. Bounce, bounce. And maybe it is worth checking the limits. Is this my end? Yeah, this is the end. Okay. This is the end. Tone it back. Let's go. This is the end. Tone it back. Let's go. So you find your range. It will be different than mine, but you find it. And you do this for me for a little bit. And put your hands, when you're ready, put your hands on the rib cage and try to capture that open and close of the rib cage. If it is not doing it, or if this is not accessible to you, you stop the feet and you do this using your hands. So take your rib cage, using your hands, taking it in position. So if you're feeling it, no problem. And it's not going to be as exaggerated as I'm doing it, because I need to do it so you can see it in the camera. Bounce, 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 bounce. Okay? And then you place one hand on the top and the other hand at the diaphragm. And if you go slow, you also capture the lift and drop. And there is a reason why this happens, but we don't have time to look at the anatomy. We will at the next session. And now release the hands and keep doing this. But notice how your awareness has changed. It's like, oh, you're now feeling all these things. It's like, oh my God. Okay. And now, let's do 4. Yeah, let's go. Left, right, left, right. And step. And let's do it again. 2 feet. Let's start on the right. Right, left, right, left. Let's do it again. Starting on this side. Bum, bum, bum. And shift the weight. Pass through. Let's go. Oops, sorry. This side. Bum, 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 bum. Shift the weight. Hit it. Again, let's do 4, 2 for each side. This side. 1, 2, 3, and step through. Again, and 1, 2, 3, and step through. This side. 1, 2, 3. We did the same. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. It's okay. Now we're gonna do the other side. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step through. Fantastic. We're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna do back. So 2 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step. Again, starting on this side. 1, meaning where your heels are gonna go. 2, 3. What did I do? I did something wrong. Okay. Here we go. Starting on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I did. I did 5. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's fix it. Starting on this side. 4, 4, 3, 2, and step through. Okay, now this side. Now, oh my God. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. What's wrong with me? Then step. Good. And 1, I got this. 3, 4, step through. Good. And 1, 2, 3, and step through. Let's do one for each side. It's just now that I got it, it's good. 1, 2, 3, and step through. Fantastic. And 1, 2, 3, 4, step through. So, what does that give us? It gives us first a security, and second, it gives us a time flow that is, find this, and this is exactly what we're going to do now. Notice that you were here. These two were together. And then they were opposite. There is this moment in our step, in our walk, that if you allow for your body to move and adjust, you will find it too. So we're here, we're at this moment when you want to give yourself that little extra bit of push to make your way over that over and into the new step. That little push, and then I think in past videos I've described this as the engine together. Opposite of our walk. But this cannot happen if you don't let this and this happen. So we're not going to get into this because it's a lot of work. But what I want you to work on with the next song is 2 feet, and drop your weight over that 1 foot. Feel these 2 parts coming together and going. And after a few repetitions, if it feels good, you just go into forward ochos or into back ochos. If you feel ready. If not, you keep doing the 2 feet. Drop your weight over, swing through, and pivot. Let's go. Nice and gently. Again, do not copy the teacher. Your end of range might be different than my end of range. So you find it, and then you're ready to go. Okay, so we're going to do this, and then we're just going to do a song to close and let things settle. What is this? Oh, yeah.
Je voudrais du soleil vert, des dentelles et des terres, des photos de bord de mer, dans mon jardin d'hiver. Je voudrais de la lumière, comme en Nouvelle-Angleterre. Je veux changer d'atmosphère dans mon jardin d'hiver. Ma robe à fleurs sous la pluie de novembre. Tes mains qui courent, je n'en peux plus de t'attendre. Les années passent nous entend. Je voudrais du frais d'Astère, revoir un lac décoré. Je voudrais toujours vous plaire dans mon jardin d'hiver. Je veux déjeuner par terre, comme au long des golfes clairs, embrasser les yeux ouverts dans mon jardin d'hiver. Ma robe est fleur sous la pluie de novembre. Tes mains qui courent, je n'en peux plus de t'attendre. Les années passent, il est loin, lâche le temps, tu ne peux nous entendre. La 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 la.
All right.
Lean into the sounds you love. Take your playlists and
Small advertisement. Okay, so let's do one song. Stepping away from the exercises, allowing yourself to not consciously think of what we did, but seeing if those little things show up in our closing dance. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the first song that we did because I really like it. Here we go. Fun stuff. Okay, there we go. Okay, so some closing thoughts. What could those be? We only got to one thing, of course, because I always overestimate time and I think, oh, we can talk about hips, we can talk about all these things. But my goal was to be able to give you strategies in order to be able to work on your own, on any struggle you might have, in tango or in any other dance, actually. So again, two strategies. First strategy is if you've gotten a glimpse, if you've managed the movement you're willing to achieve, your teacher is asking you to do. If you've managed it, but you're still like, from a scale from 1 to 10, you're still at 1. Use the hands as your guides, and they will give you a lot of feedback, and they will help you really understand what you're doing and what you are missing in terms of movement. The second strategy is, again, relates to hands, but the second strategy is if your teacher is asking you to do something, you fully understand what they're asking you to do, but your body cannot do it, then, and hopefully that you have access to that body part through your hands, then you use your hands to move your body, the body part in question, in the way that your teacher is asking you to. So if someone is asking you to rotate your forearm and you can't rotate, I'm just exaggerating, you grab hold of that forearm and you rotate it using the other hand. So not the forearm rotating, grabbing it and rotating it, and back, and front and back. So you're teaching yourself, basically. This is strategy number 2. You're teaching yourself. If that the body part we're talking about, or the movement that you need to do, is not accessible to you, it's not easy to move it, you can use stuff like a band. You wrap it around, pull things up. So that's one way. So you can use other prompts or tools where your hands cannot get you access to, but hands are very helpful in creating that map that you need to follow through with the movement. So these are my 2 strategies. It feels like we have to come back to this subject, so maybe our next online will be on this matter as well, focusing on a different body part than today. Stay tuned. Join us at Bautanz.com, because there I'm going to give more key notes that I think would be helpful, covering also some elements of anatomy, especially because we talked about rotation today and I want you to be safe. So that is it. Bautanz.com. Stay tuned. More is coming. Bye.